Good morning, everyone. Today, I want to talk about something that fuels success in every area of life: confidence. Not the kind that flickers when circumstances change, but the kind that endures. The kind Tony Robbins calls unstoppable confidence. Tony Robbins teaches us that confidence isn't something we're born with, it's something we build. It's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And the best part, anyone can develop it. So, how do we build this unstoppable confidence? First, change your state. Robbins emphasizes that confidence starts with physiology. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with purpose. If you act like a confident person, your mind follows. Next time you doubt yourself, adjust your posture, raise your voice, and watch how quickly your energy shifts. Second, feed your mind. Confidence comes from certainty, and certainty comes from knowledge. Robbins says if you want to master confidence, you must constantly condition your mind with empowering thoughts, beliefs, and habits. Read, listen, learn, surround yourself with people and messages that strengthen, not weaken, your belief in yourself. Third, take massive action. Nothing builds confidence like results. Robbins reminds us that action kills fear. The moment you step forward, even imperfectly, you begin to stack proof that you are capable. Confidence is the byproduct of doing, of trying, failing, learning, and trying again. Now here's the key. Unstoppable confidence isn't about never feeling fear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. Robbins often says, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably handle. If you can step into uncertainty with courage, you'll discover just how much you're capable of. Confidence is built, not born. This idea challenges one of the most common myths we carry in our minds, that some people just have it and others don't. When we see someone who walks into a room and commands attention, who speaks with clarity and authority, or who goes after their goals without hesitation, we often assume they were simply born that way. But Tony Robbins teaches us that this assumption is false. Confidence is not a gift from birth. It is a skill, a discipline, something that is developed through consistent practice and intentional action. Think about a baby learning to walk. They don't come into the world knowing how to balance on 2 feet. They try, they wobble, they fall, and they get back up. With every attempt, their legs grow stronger and their brain learns how to coordinate movement. Eventually, walking becomes second nature. The same process applies to confidence. At first, you may feel unsteady. You may doubt yourself, hesitate, and even stumble in front of others. But with each attempt, with each experience where you push through discomfort, you strengthen your confidence muscle. Over time, what once felt intimidating becomes natural. Many people wait for confidence to magically appear before taking action. They say, I'll start speaking up when I feel confident, or I'll launch my business when I have the confidence to do it. But Robbins emphasizes the reverse truth. You don't wait for confidence to come, you create it through doing. Every time you take a step forward, even when you don't feel ready, you prove to yourself that you're capable. That proof builds certainty, and certainty is the foundation of confidence. This is why Robbins often says that confidence comes from repetition and conditioning. Just as an athlete builds strength by consistently training, a person builds confidence by repeatedly putting themselves in situations where they stretch their limits. If you give a speech once, you may feel nervous. If you give 10 speeches, you'll start to feel more comfortable. If you give 100 speeches, you'll exude confidence without even thinking about it. Confidence is forged through exposure, through practice, through repeatedly facing the very things that once triggered fear. It's also important to recognize that confidence is situational. You might feel completely confident in one area of your life, but uncertain in another. For example, someone could be extremely confident in their career, but insecure in their personal relationships. This proves that confidence is not fixed. It grows in the areas where you've put in the work. Wherever you are willing to practice, learn, and apply yourself, confidence will follow. Another aspect Robbins highlights is the importance of celebrating progress. When you acknowledge your wins, even the small ones, you reinforce the belief that you are capable and growing. This creates momentum. Each success, no matter how minor, adds a brick to the foundation of your confidence. On the other hand, if you only focus on what you lack or where you fell short, you weaken that foundation. Building confidence is not just about action, it's also about how you interpret those actions. Celebrate progress, and you'll naturally fuel more of it. Finally, it's crucial to understand that confidence doesn't mean the absence of fear. Even the most successful and seemingly confident people still feel nervous or uncertain at times. The difference is that they don't let those feelings stop them. Robbins teaches that courage is the starting point, and confidence is the reward. When you act with courage repeatedly, confidence becomes the natural outcome. So confidence is not a birthright, it's a choice. It's something you construct piece by piece, decision by decision, action by action. Anyone can build it, and the process begins the moment you stop waiting for it and start training it like the vital life skill it truly is. Change your state first. Tony Robbins places enormous importance on this principle because he understands that the way you feel in any given moment is not random. It's largely determined by the state your body is in. If you've ever noticed how your energy drops when you slouch, breathe shallowly, or drag your feet, you've experienced the power of physiology. On the flip side, when you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with purpose, you feel a surge of confidence and power even before you've spoken a word. The body and mind are deeply connected, and Robbins teaches that the fastest way to shift your emotions is to first shift your physical state. Imagine walking into a job interview, hunched over, shoulders drooped, eyes down, and voice trembling. Even if you have all the right answers prepared, your body is sending signals of doubt and uncertainty. Now picture yourself walking in with your shoulders back, head held high, steady breathing, and a confident smile. Without saying a word, you've already influenced how others perceive you, and more importantly, how you perceive yourself. That's the essence of changing your state. You command your physiology so that your emotions follow. Confidence, therefore, is not just something you think about, it's something you embody. Robbins often demonstrates this in his seminars by asking participants to change their posture, clap their hands with energy, or even jump up and down. It might seem silly, but it's incredibly effective. Within seconds, people report feeling more energized, more alert, and more open. This is because the body produces biochemical changes when you move it with intensity and purpose. The physical movement creates a feedback loop that lifts your emotional state. This principle applies in everyday life as well. Think about how athletes prepare before a competition. They don't just sit quietly and hope for confidence. They warm up, they pump themselves up with rituals. They use music, breathing, and physical routines to get into a peak state. By doing this, they don't leave their confidence to chance, they create it. Robbins argues that ordinary people can use these same strategies in daily challenges, whether it's giving a presentation, asking for a raise, or having a difficult conversation. Another layer of state management involves your focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you focus on everything that could go wrong, your body will tense up and your confidence will shrink. But if you focus on your strengths, on past successes, or on the opportunity at hand, your body naturally aligns with those empowering thoughts. This is why Robbins teaches people to use incantations, powerful affirmations spoken aloud with emotion and intensity. Saying, "I am unstoppable," while standing tall and speaking with force doesn't just sound different. It feels different because it engages both your mind and body. It's also worth noting that changing your state is not about pretending or faking confidence. It's about activating the confidence that is already within you. Often doubt and fear cloud our access to it, and shifting physiology clears that fog. Just like a car engine that starts sluggishly on a cold morning, your body sometimes needs a jump start to operate at its best. By consciously choosing to adjust your breathing, movement, and posture, you give yourself that spark. This concept can even be applied to overcoming fear in high-pressure situations. Robbins often reminds people that fear and excitement are actually similar physiological states. Both make your heart race, both increase adrenaline, and both sharpen your focus. The difference lies in the label you attach to the sensation. If you interpret your racing heart as panic, you freeze. But if you interpret it as energy, you step forward. By shifting your body and reframing the feeling, you can transform fear into fuel. Ultimately, the practice of changing your state is about reclaiming control. Too many people let their environment, their mood, or their circumstances dictate how they feel and act. Robbins insists that confidence cannot survive in that kind of passivity. You must learn to direct your state on command, to choose the energy you bring to every situation. Once you master this, you no longer wait for confidence to show up. You create it moment by mastering the language of your body. Feed your mind with empowering beliefs. Tony Robbins often emphasizes that the quality of our lives depends on the quality of our thoughts. Confidence doesn't just come from posture or action, it also comes from the inner dialogue we hold with ourselves every single day. The mind is like a garden, and whatever seeds we plant will grow. If we consistently plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, then insecurity and hesitation will thrive. But if we plant seeds of courage, strength, and possibility, then confidence becomes the natural harvest. The thoughts we feed ourselves shape our beliefs, and those beliefs create the boundaries of what we believe is possible. Beliefs are not facts. They are simply interpretations, conclusions we've drawn based on past experiences or repeated conditioning. A person who once failed at public speaking may develop a belief that they're not a good speaker. Over time, if this belief is repeated internally enough, it becomes their reality. But Robbins reminds us that beliefs can be changed because they are not permanent. Just as they were learned, they can be unlearned and replaced with more empowering alternatives. If someone tells themselves, "I am growing as a speaker with every attempt," that belief fuels progress instead of shutting it down. Feeding your mind means intentionally choosing what you expose yourself to. If you consume negative news, toxic conversations, or self-critical thoughts, you weaken your confidence. But if you surround yourself with uplifting messages, success stories, mentors, and empowering affirmations, you strengthen your inner certainty. Robbins often says that stand guard at the door of your mind. This means not letting just anything enter your consciousness, because what you allow in will eventually affect how you feel and how you act. Think about the power of repetition. Just as commercials influence us through repeated exposure, our inner voice influences us through constant repetition of certain thoughts. If you say to yourself every day, "I can't do this," eventually your subconscious accepts it as truth. On the other hand, if you consistently affirm, "I am capable, I am resilient, I am unstoppable," those words begin to program your mind for confidence. Robbins doesn't suggest mindless positivity, but rather conditioning your mind with intentional, empowering beliefs that align with your goals. This is where role models and mentors become vital. When you study people who have achieved great things, you absorb their mindset. Listening to their stories of perseverance and growth shows you what's possible. If someone else could overcome obstacles, you start to believe you can too. Robbins encourages people to read, listen to audiobooks, attend seminars, and immerse themselves in environments where confidence and success are celebrated. By doing so, you condition your mind to think bigger, expect more, and believe in your own capacity to rise. Another powerful strategy Robbins teaches is visualization. When you vividly imagine yourself succeeding, your mind rehearses confidence before it actually happens. Olympic athletes use this technique regularly. They visualize crossing the finish line, feeling the medal around their neck, hearing the crowd cheer. This mental rehearsal programs the brain and body to act as if the success is already within reach. By visualizing your best self, speaking confidently, performing effectively, or handling challenges with grace, you strengthen your inner certainty and align your actions with that vision. It's also important to recognize that feeding your mind requires consistency. You can't expect one motivational video or one positive thought to erase years of self-doubt. Just as you wouldn't go to the gym once and expect lasting strength, you must continually train your mind. Daily rituals matter: reading empowering material each morning, writing down affirmations, or taking a few minutes to focus on gratitude. These small practices compound over time, gradually rewiring your mindset from doubt to confidence. Ultimately, Robbins' message is clear: confidence begins in the mind before it ever shows up in the world. If you learn to guard your thoughts, replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones, and surround yourself with positivity, your confidence becomes unshakable. The voice in your head is either your biggest critic or your greatest coach. The choice of which one it becomes is yours, and that choice is made every day by what you feed your mind. Take massive action. This principle lies at the heart of Tony Robbins' philosophy because nothing builds confidence like action. You can read books, repeat affirmations, and visualize success, but until you step forward and actually do something, the mind still hesitates. Action is the bridge between intention and confidence. When you take action, you create evidence for yourself that you are capable. That evidence becomes proof, and proof transforms into belief. The more you act, the stronger your sense of certainty grows. Most people wait for confidence before taking action. They tell themselves they'll start the business, go to the gym, or give the presentation once they feel ready. Robbins flips this idea on its head. He teaches that confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. You don't wait to feel courageous before speaking up. You speak up, and the courage grows from that choice. You don't wait to feel powerful before taking a step toward your dream. You take the step, and the sense of power follows. Confidence is earned through movement, through experience, through the willingness to take a leap before you have every answer. Taking massive action also means not holding back. Many people take small, hesitant steps and then wonder why their confidence doesn't grow. Robbins stresses that massive action is about commitment and intensity. When you go all in, you generate momentum. Momentum builds progress, and progress reinforces confidence. Even if you stumble, the sheer fact that you acted boldly creates an internal shift. You prove to yourself that you're not someone who hides, you're someone who moves. Fear is often the greatest obstacle to action. The mind invents stories of failure, rejection, or embarrassment, and those stories paralyze us. Robbins explains that fear fades the moment we step into it. Action dissolves fear because it interrupts the cycle of hesitation. Think about the last time you were nervous to make a phone call or approach someone. The dread before the action was far worse than the action itself. Once you started, the fear lessened. This is why Robbins says that the antidote to fear is action. The only way to shrink doubt is to confront it with movement. Another powerful part of this principle is that massive action leads to results, and results build confidence faster than anything else. When you try something and succeed, even in a small way, you create undeniable proof that you're capable, that success becomes fuel. But Robbins also emphasizes that even failure can build confidence if you interpret it correctly. Every time you act and it doesn't work out, you gain feedback. That feedback teaches you how to improve. Over time, repeated action gives you a library of experiences to draw from, and those experiences become the foundation of unstoppable confidence. Massive action also creates momentum in ways that thinking alone never can. You may not know the exact path to your goal, but action reveals the next step. It's like driving at night with your headlights on. You can only see a little bit ahead, but by moving forward, more of the road reveals itself. Similarly, when you take bold action, opportunities and resources appear that you could never have planned for if you had stayed frozen in thought. Confidence grows because you realize that you don't need to have the entire map. You just need the courage to take the next step. Finally, Robbins teaches that the habit of taking massive action creates identity. Every time you act decisively, you reinforce the belief that you are a doer, not a dreamer. That identity becomes part of who you are. Instead of saying, "I wish I had confidence," you start to say, "I am confident because I take action." The act of moving forward rewires your self-image into one of strength, certainty, and resilience. Confidence, therefore, is not something to wait for. It's something to create through bold, consistent, massive action. The more you act, the more evidence you build, the more momentum you generate, and the more unstoppable your confidence becomes. Embrace uncertainty. At the core of Tony Robbins' philosophy on confidence lies this essential truth. Life is unpredictable, and those who wait for certainty before moving forward will remain stuck. Confidence is not about knowing every outcome in advance. It's about developing the ability to act in spite of uncertainty. Robbins often reminds people that the quality of your life is directly related to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably handle. If you can only move forward when you're sure of success, your life will stay small. But if you can step into the unknown with courage, your world expands. When people resist uncertainty, what they're really resisting is discomfort. The human brain is wired to seek safety and predictability. That's why routines feel secure and why change often feels threatening. But the irony is that growth only happens when we stretch beyond the familiar. Robbins teaches that confidence comes from conditioning yourself to handle this stretch. The more often you expose yourself to uncertain situations and act decisively anyway, the more you train your nervous system to stay calm in the face of the unknown. Over time, what once seemed intimidating becomes manageable, and you realize that you are stronger than the uncertainty itself. Consider how children learn. When a child tries to ride a bike, they have no certainty that they won't fall. In fact, falling is almost guaranteed, but they climb on, wobble, crash, and try again. Through repeated exposure to uncertainty, they eventually master balance and discover the thrill of riding freely. Adults forget this lesson. We start craving perfection before action, safety before exploration. Robbins urges us to return to that childlike willingness to stumble, to embrace trial and error, because that's where true confidence is built. One of the key shifts Robbins encourages is changing your relationship with fear. Most people interpret uncertainty as danger. Their heart races, their stomach tightens, and they see it as a warning to retreat. But Robbins suggests reframing it. What if those same sensations were signals of excitement? Physiologically, fear and excitement look almost identical. The difference is in the story you attach. If you label uncertainty as fear, you withdraw. If you label it as excitement, you lean in. This reframing turns uncertainty into a source of energy rather than paralysis. Confidence also grows when you recognize that uncertainty is where opportunities live. Every breakthrough in history, from scientific discoveries to business innovations, came from someone willing to step into the unknown. If they had waited for guarantees, they never would have started. Robbins stresses that uncertainty is not your enemy. It is the very field in which growth, innovation, and transformation occur. When you begin to see uncertainty as a doorway instead of a wall, your willingness to step forward expands, and with it, your confidence. Another important dimension is learning to trust yourself more than the circumstances. You may not know what challenges lie ahead, but you can know that you'll figure it out. That self-trust is the essence of confidence. It's not the belief that everything will be easy, but the belief that you can handle whatever comes. Robbins teaches that confidence is not the absence of problems, but the presence of resourcefulness. The more you practice adapting to uncertain situations, the more faith you develop in your own resilience. Ultimately, embracing uncertainty is about letting go of the need for control. Many people exhaust themselves trying to predict and manage every detail of life. But Robbins points out that real confidence doesn't come from controlling the environment. It comes from controlling yourself. You can't control the economy, other people, or every twist of fate, but you can control your attitude, your focus, and your actions. When you master that, uncertainty no longer feels like a threat. It becomes a canvas for possibility. The truth is, the unknown will always be part of life. You can either let it shrink you or let it grow you. By embracing uncertainty, you build the capacity to act boldly even when the path is unclear. And with each bold step, your confidence grows, not because you knew the outcome in advance, but because you proved to yourself that you could handle whatever unfolded. This is the kind of confidence that cannot be shaken, because it is rooted not in circumstances, but in your own unbreakable spirit. Make confidence a daily habit. Tony Robbins teaches that confidence is not a one-time achievement. It is a practice, something you build and reinforce every single day. Just as you cannot go to the gym once and expect lifelong strength, you cannot experience confidence once and expect it to last forever. It must be conditioned, nourished, and cultivated with intention. The people who appear effortlessly confident are usually those who have built rituals, habits, and daily practices that support their sense of certainty. Over time, these habits accumulate into an identity, and confidence becomes who they are rather than something they try to feel in the moment. The key to making confidence a habit is consistency. Small, repeated actions shape how you see yourself. When you wake up early and keep your commitments, you build trust in yourself. When you speak up in meetings, even if your voice shakes, you train your nervous system to grow more comfortable with visibility. When you celebrate small wins instead of ignoring them, you reinforce the belief that you are making progress. Confidence isn't a giant leap. It's the compounding effect of many small steps practiced daily. Each time you follow through, you cast a vote for the identity of a confident person. Robbins often emphasizes the power of rituals in shaping confidence. Successful people don't rely on chance to feel empowered. They create rituals that put them into a peak state every day. For some, that might be exercise, which floods the body with energy and primes the mind for strength. For others, it might be meditation, journaling, or repeating affirmations that reinforce empowering beliefs. Robbins himself uses techniques like power breathing and incantations, speaking affirmations with intensity and movement, to condition his body and mind for confidence. By engaging both physiology and psychology, these rituals create a daily baseline of certainty that carries into everything else. Another important habit is the practice of learning and growth. Confidence thrives when you feel prepared, skilled, and continuously improving. By dedicating time each day to read, study, or expand your knowledge, you strengthen the foundation of certainty in your abilities. Robbins often says that if you're not growing, you're dying, because stagnation leads to doubt and complacency. By making growth a daily priority, you not only build competence, but also signal to yourself that you are someone committed to progress, and progress fuels confidence. It's also essential to manage the environment you immerse yourself in every day. If you surround yourself with negative influences, your confidence will erode. But if you choose an environment that uplifts and challenges you, your confidence will expand. This means being selective about the people you interact with, the content you consume, and the conversations you engage in. Each day, ask yourself, is what I'm feeding my mind strengthening my confidence or weakening it? Making this level of awareness a daily habit ensures that your confidence isn't left vulnerable to outside negativity. Daily confidence also comes from how you interpret setbacks. Every day brings challenges, and it's easy to let failures chip away at your certainty. But Robbins teaches that setbacks are not signals to stop. They are opportunities to refine and grow. When you train yourself to reframe mistakes as feedback, you transform obstacles into stepping stones. This habit of interpretation is powerful because it determines whether you spiral into self-doubt or rise with resilience. By consistently choosing an empowering interpretation, you protect your confidence and keep it growing, even through adversity. Finally, gratitude is a daily practice that fuels unshakable confidence. When you take time to focus on what you already have, what you've already accomplished, and what you're capable of, you shift out of a state of lack and into a state of abundance. Gratitude grounds you, reminding you that you are enough in this moment. From that place, confidence flows naturally. Robbins often says that you cannot be fearful and grateful at the same time. By choosing gratitude daily, you crowd out fear and insecurity, leaving more room for certainty and trust in yourself. In the end, confidence is not a mystery or a fleeting feeling, it is a habit. It's the result of choices made consistently, rituals practiced daily, and interpretations managed intentionally. When you treat confidence as a skill to be trained every day, it becomes part of who you are. You no longer have to summon it. You live it, and when confidence is woven into your daily habits, it transforms from a fragile state into an unstoppable force that guides you through every challenge and amplifies every success. So today, I challenge you, stand taller, speak with more certainty. Take that step you've been avoiding,